teachers punished for social media posts on their personal accounts.
Do you think that this proposal is in violation of a teacher's First Amendment?
Controversy behind this plan and the Wilson County School Board member behind it. Plus, not including the real price tag. The audit showing just how much the mayor's transit plan will really cost Nashville. The difference is in the billions. And heating up cold cases. How the Metro Police Department is including you. Fox 17 News starts now.
Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
Under this proposal, it could cost you your job, and I think that's the real danger with what was proposed.
Tonight in Crisis in the Classroom, the Wilson County School Board considers a policy that could penalize teachers for comments made on their social media pages, their personal pages. Now, this comes months after, the district's Teacher of the Year came under fire for posting something negative about a member of the school board. And as Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller shows us, that school board member is the one who is pushing this policy.
This is the social media policy proposal for Wilson County schools. Now, today we spoke with educators and parents who say that there are a lot of gray areas here and policies that could be subjective, and anything violated on this policy could lead to a teacher being terminated.
There's obviously a need to adopt a policy for social media.
Wilson County School Board member Greg Homan believes there should be a social media policy for teachers after a Wilson County teacher made a critical post about Homan during his election campaign. The policy he's proposing, he says, mimics what Rutherford County schools have in place. Parts of this policy include employees shall not use their personal social networking sites for school or district purposes. Employees are prohibited from posting inappropriate information that is likely to create a substantial disruption. It later reads, employees who are found in violation of this policy could be terminated.
Do you think that this proposal is in violation of a teacher's First Amendment?
Oh, as it's written, yes, 100%. It would violate. If you tried to, especially Section 9 that suggests that a teacher could be terminated potentially for something that they, a comment that they made about a board member or a parent or something like that.
Carrie Pfeiffer is a Wilson County parent and former teacher and school board member. Pfeiffer says teachers need to keep student information confidential. But she says when it comes to forming an opinion about something else, teachers can do that on their personal accounts.
It looks like it's a continuation of an effort to remove a teacher.
J.C. Bowman with the Professional Educators of Tennessee says there are parts of this policy that are good for protecting students, but he adds there's other parts that could be challenged legally.
We have a thing called an Educator Bill of Rights. And what you're really doing is questioning the educator's professional judgment. And that's where I think that there's a issue at play with that.
The spokesperson for Wilson County Schools says that this policy will be revisited at a later time, but no voting has taken place so far. Reporting from North Nashville, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Caitlin, thank you. This is one where we'd love to know what you think. Should school districts like Wilson County or others be able to penalize teachers or staff for private social media content? Nearly 600 people have weighed in, and the battle lines, if you will, are fairly clearly drawn. At least among our viewers, 60% say no, we don't think so, but nearly 40% say yes, we think it's okay. Now, this poll's live right now. If you would like to weigh in, just scan the QR code on the right-hand side of your screen, or you can go directly to our X page. Our handle is @FoxNashville, and we will show updated results later in the newscast. Crisis in the Classroom is our commitment to you to expose problems in our schools and to also look for solutions. If you have a story you'd like to see us cover, send an email to news@fox17.com, or if you'd like, you can phone our tip line as well. You see it there at the bottom of the screen, 615-266-4149. Continuing coverage now on Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell's Choose How You Move transportation plan. Nashville voters are being asked to approve a half-cent sales tax increase to pay for it, but critics say the city is understating the real cost over time to the tune of about $4 billion. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar tonight digging into the numbers.
When you go to vote, this will be a chance for you to vote for or against the mayor's transit improvement program. You'll notice the cost is nearly $3.1 billion. However, opponents say the overall cost could be $6.9 billion.
Choose How You Move is Mayor Freddie O'Connell's transportation improvement program, calling for upgrades to bus routes and frequency, sidewalks, and more. The plan to expand transit needs voters to decide if it's a go. Metro Councilwoman Courtney Johnston is opposed.
My objection to it is the fact that it's just not transparent.
The referendum on this sample ballot outlines the capital cost to be around $3.1 billion, with $111 million to operate. An independent audit put the actual cost at $6.9 billion over 15 years. When we asked the mayor's office why that's not the number listed on the ballot, the answer was there is only one number we know for sure, $3.1 billion, and asked voters to find the audit on their website.
We were playing by a different set of rules in 2018 with the referendum because they forced Megan Barry to put the entire debt service amount on the ballot.
According to the referendum, the program is funded by federal grants, fair revenues, debt, and a 0.5% sales tax increase.
There's 9 main sources, and so it's actually a conservative estimate because the financial plan had to be audited by the state comptroller. It's not just Metro saying that this will work and that this pays for the projects we say it does.
They're assuming growth in that sales tax revenue over the course of the 30 years in order to meet our debt obligation. What happens if we don't grow? Metro's on the hook for that. And the most stable source of revenue for a metropolitan government is property taxes. So if sales tax doesn't cover it, we have to raise property taxes.
The mayor's office believes that won't be the case, and it'll save us money in the end.
With this, you allow us to chip away at the average household cost of transportation.
Johnson believes we need to do bite-sized transit projects first before we accrue more debt. The mayor's office believes this transit plan will help us catch up to other major cities. In studio, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Fox 17 News has been reporting on the mayor's transit plan for months now. You can see all of our previous reporting, including the impact on the average Nashville family, on the Fox Nashville YouTube channel.
What's your message to some families who feel they're losing hope?
I don't think any family should lose hope. I mean, we're not losing hope.
In Operation Crime and Justice, Metro Police launch a new website designed to breathe new life into cold and missing persons cases, some of which are decades old. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker tonight to show us how this site could help families who have been waiting for justice.
The new site revitalizes hundreds of these tragic stories, bringing them back into the public eye. Now, in most of these cases, you'll see a photo of the victim, their case number, and a brief description of their circumstances.
LaKayla Garrett, one of many cold case victims highlighted on MMPD's new site. She was found in the grass with gunshot wounds back in 2020. Witnesses reported seeing Garrett walking alone before hearing gunfire. Further back, this unidentified woman found in the Harpeth River by a fisherman back in 1976. Before her death, 2 men admitted to giving her a ride on Interstate 24.
This is a very unusual case.
We caught up with MMPD Detective Matthew Filter to discuss some of these cases.
Monday, March 20th, 2023, this was a fisherman on the Cumberland River, happens to see this foot.
Filter says the department's goal in putting together this website is to bring awareness to the community about how many of these cases are still unresolved. It acts as another tool for detectives to get information out to the public.
We're hoping that the community will be able to come forward with information when they look at some of these cases and be able to provide that needed lead or tip that we need to try to get the case moving again.
Filter says the biggest issue detectives run into in a lot of these cases is lack of cooperation from witnesses or lack of witnesses altogether.
But years later, after time passes, things have settled down, a lot of times people will come back and want to talk to us because they're more comfortable now.
This is why he urges families not to lose hope.
And if you'd like to search a specific name or case number, you can do so here in the top corner. Now keep in mind, if you don't see a specific person that you're looking for, that may be because that case is still an active investigation where detectives are still pursuing leads. For now, reporting in studio, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Thank you, Kylie. All right, get this. Some Yankees fans tonight getting a little handsy with Nashville native and Dodgers star Mookie Betts in Game 4 of the World Series up in New York. Now, as Betts goes up to get a foul ball, a couple fans grab his hands and they pull the ball right out of his glove. You see it right there. That leads to an interference call. Mookie knew that was coming as soon as he got grabbed. Betts does get credit for the out, and the fans are shown the exit. All right, let's talk about your weather. Not baseball weather, not football weather. I don't know what kind of weather this is. Midsummer weather?
It's too warm for my taste.
There you go.
But yeah, we're getting into the point where even the 80s, mid 80s are record highs for us. Tomorrow, the record is 86. We're going to be a little below that, but still close with temperatures in the low 80s. But the big story continues to be our rain chances for Halloween night. And overall, the first decent rain chance that we've had in about a month. So we check out how much rain we could end up with here. Future Track is painting anywhere between a quarter to a half inch. Some areas could see closer to 1 inch of rain. It'll just depend on where those heavy pockets decide to set up. But good to see some rain headed our way, although the timing not all that great. Live look here on Broadway. Folks out and about enjoying this Tuesday evening here. Temperature comfortable. We're in the mid 60s with a mainly clear sky. And we check out forecast lows for tonight, dropping down into those upper 50s to right around 60. So another mild start to the day. We're going to walk you through the timing for our rain chance coming up on Thursday and a look at the weekend ahead on your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
Katie, thank you. Dangerous drugs in the medicine cabinet. The 5 prescription meds doctors say you should get rid of after your treatment is over. And not waiting for Election Day next week, this story told by all the early voting numbers around the country. In Operation Crime and Justice tonight, a federal manhunt is underway for whoever is responsible for setting 3 different ballot boxes on fire over on the West Coast. Ballots went up in flames in Portland, Oregon, along with 2 locations in Vancouver, Washington. Investigators say those fires destroyed hundreds of ballots altogether. City election leaders in both cities say they are increasing security around their ballot boxes. And tonight, election leaders in other states are talking about what they're doing to fight crime at the ballot box.
Every mail ballot has an individual tracker barcode on it. We passed the Election Protector Bill, which made it a felony to harass or intimidate election workers.
We have added new fencing, badging, we've taken other measures to make sure that everyone is safe and they can focus on their important jobs.
Election leaders in Vancouver tonight are asking anyone who may have placed a ballot in the city's heavily damaged ballot boxes on Saturday morning or later to contact them. Now, Fox 17 News is committed to bringing you in-depth analysis of all the key issues leading up to November 5th, which is next Tuesday, a week from tonight. As soon as the polls close next Tuesday evening at 7, Fox 17 will bring you the latest results on key races, both on air and online at fox17.com. In health news tonight, it is time to clean out your medicine cabinets. The Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, says too many unused medicines are finding their way into the wrong hands. Fox 17 News' Amanda Chen tonight to tell us about the 5 medications a doctor says you should never leave sitting in your medicine cabinet.
Whether it's unused or expired, disposing of prescription medications properly can reduce risk of accidental use or intentional misuse.
When we think about drugs that we want to get out of our medicine cabinets, the reality is that the answer should probably be most drugs that have outlived their original indication.
Dr. Holly Gayer with Mayo Clinic says it can be dangerous for medications to be used differently from how they were prescribed.
It is best to get these drugs out of the house unless you have specific reasons by your provider to keep them in the house when you're done with them.
But Gayer says there are 5 groups of prescription medications you should never leave unused in your home. Opioids top the list. Last year, this drug was linked to more than 81,000 overdose deaths in the U.S., according to CDC provisional data. Next, Gayer says certain anti-anxiety medications.
These are ones like lorazepam or alprazolam. As drug class, they can be toxic, especially when combined with other drugs that can be sedating.
Third, certain sleeping medications should be discarded or locked up when they're no longer needed. Fourth, muscle relaxers. If used with other substances, these can increase overdose risk. Finally, Gayer says unused cough medications should also be discarded.
We've recognized something called robotripping in that teenage population if there's dextromethorphan in the drug. So cough medicines can be toxic even if you purchase them over the counter. Get them out if you no longer need them.
I'm Amanda Chan reporting for Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
In consumer news tonight, a popular grocery store chain is expanding into Tennessee and getting rid of some of its self-checkout stations. Hy-Vee is removing some self-checkout kiosks from stores and going back to traditional checkouts. The company believes it's key to providing better customer service. Hy-Vee has nearly 300 stores, primarily in the Midwest, but it is planning to expand into both Tennessee and Kentucky. We're told the first planned Tennessee location is in Spring Hill, in our area. All right, let's talk about the weather. Katie talked about tomorrow being sort of threatening the high temperature.
Yeah, record
That's like
high.
the second or third time, in the last 5 days.
I know, it's been quite warm. I want to talk more about Hy-Vee. I like Hy-Vee.
I
I'm
love
excited
the
about
idea
that.
of not
Yeah.
having those, that's just me. I don't like the self-serve.
The traditional ones, the
Yeah.
checkouts, yeah. Yes, another warm day on tap for tomorrow. It will be close to a record high, but I think it should be safe. The record is 86, forecast is 82. But it's close enough. It's warm for this time of year. And not only are we looking at afternoon highs that are warm, it's these overnight lows that are quite mild. This morning, we only reached 62 degrees. For perspective, the average low this time of year is 45. So we were 17 degrees above average for the morning low. And I am expecting another warm overnight tonight. Warm and breezy Wednesday. We will continue to track a rainy Halloween. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center has come out with a level 1 risk just to our west. I do not anticipate this to expand east and intensify for us here in Middle Tennessee. In fact, right now, the way it is looking that storms will be ongoing in West Tennessee and will begin to weaken as they march more into Middle Tennessee. We're kind of on that edge, though, that we need to make sure that we're at least staying aware that the potential for a stray strong thunderstorm is possible. This is not a tornado risk. This is more of a wind and hail risk for us with a couple of heavy pockets of rain. By the time we get to trick-or-treating, around 4 o'clock or so, severe weather won't be an issue, but we will have a few rumbles of thunder around. Temperatures in those upper 70s at 4, low 70s at 6, and upper 60s as we head towards 8 o'clock. So let's walk you through future track here. This is 9 a.m. and you can see again we're right on the edge of where some of those stronger storms may be as they march through West Tennessee. As the line works its way more into Middle Tennessee, a couple intense showers possible by 12 noon near the Tennessee River. A little bit later in the day here, we're looking at 2, 3 o'clock. Good amount of rainfall possible for us, but the overall severe weather risk should begin to weaken as it makes its way through the area. If anything, the potential for a stray strong thunderstorm could exist perhaps as far east as I-65, but I really do think that the higher risk for severe weather is going to be well west of us as we go through tomorrow and into early Thursday morning. Here's 6 p.m. Some moderate to heavy pockets of rain along with a few thunderstorms. 9 p.m. you can see those showers continue here across some of our eastern counties. So this really is going to be a beneficial rain for us as we head through Thursday. Before then, a warm Wednesday on tap. High pressure is settled to our east, so that puts us on the warm side of things. And it's going to push our temperatures into those 80s, close to record highs. We'll be at 68 at 10 o'clock, up to about 82 or so by the afternoon. We'll talk more about some breezy conditions expected for tomorrow and more on the bigger severe risk out in the Central Plains. That in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington. Coming up, we take a look at early voting as we are 7 days away from the election.
And remembering an actress who helped to pave the way for other women in comedy, celebrating the life of Terry Garr. In politics, the presidential election is 1 week away, but tens of millions of people have already cast their ballots. Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskin shows us how important these votes could be as the race for the White House is now in its home stretch.
It's the final stretch to Election Day.
How's everybody doing?
Kamala Harris marking the last week of the campaign with a rally in Washington, D.C. Trump giving a speech at Mar-a-Lago before heading to Allentown, Pennsylvania.
The excitement in this area of Allentown and the Lehigh Valley is unprecedented.
Where this Tuesday marks the final day of early voting in the crucial swing state. Leading up to the deadline, Pennsylvania polling locations swamped with voters.
Close to 2 hours.
Did you expect that?
No, we thought we were going to pretty much walk in and have like 5 minutes to wait.
Many Americans will have already voted when Election Day finally arrives on November 5th. As of midday Tuesday, more than 50 million early votes were cast, according to the election lab at the University of Florida. Almost 1/3 of the total turnout in 2020. The data showing Democrats outperforming Republicans overall by about 3%, but Republicans encouraged by early turnout in Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. Experts warning against attempting to read the tea leaves of early voting data due to changing trends. Meanwhile, ballot boxes in Washington state and Oregon going up in flames.
There may be a lot of people that don't even know their ballots won't be counted. And that concerns me.
Officials attempting to assess the damage.
We don't have an exact number at this point. Probably never will have an exact number.
With polls still showing such a tight race, experts say the winner will likely be determined by turnout over the next week and who has the most supporters show up on Election Day. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
New tonight, the entertainment industry is mourning the passing of an Oscar-nominated actress, Terry Garr. She died today in Los Angeles. The 79-year-old Garr is best known for her work in films like Young Frankenstein, Tootsie, and Mr. Mom. Her death comes more than 20 years after she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Her Hollywood career spanned decades. In fact, Garr's earliest credits include appearances on television shows, including Star Trek.
I'm Janae Bowens with a look at political disagreements in the workplace.
From warning letter to lawsuit, I'm Jeff Harris in Washington. Coming up, Elon Musk is being sued while the Philadelphia district attorney is targeting his $1 million sweepstakes.
A Nashville man is facing charges tonight after Metro police say he's caught on camera crashing into a police cruiser while trying to escape a traffic stop. It happened early this morning, about 1:30 a.m. Police saw 22-year-old Carlos Esquivel driving recklessly on Korean Veterans Boulevard, and it led to all this. He refused to stop, started doing donuts on 24, and then boom, crashes into that officer's car. That officer behind the wheel treated and released. Esquivel's facing 4 charges tonight, including aggravated assault on an officer. In politics, indications that Americans are increasingly intolerant of those with differing political opinions. Surveys show that party differences often lead to disagreements that get physical. Fox 17 News' Janae Bowens tonight examining this growing issue.
We've seen political violence plague our country, and the tense climate is spilling over to the workplace.
This is clearly a problem.
Jim Link with the Society for Human Resource Management says their research shows 70% of U.S. workers have experienced and or witnessed people making threats due to political differences. And around the same amount have even experienced and or witnessed people being violent.
Some of the things driving it are certainly the prolific use of social media and digital technology to share knowledge and information. There's a lot at stake, no matter which side of the fence you fall upon. And people tend to be somewhat polarized in their views right now related to those matters.
78% of workers reported experiencing or witnessing poor treatment because of their political opinions. To fix this, Link says workers must speak up and report uncivil behavior, harassment, discrimination, and violence. Like so many of us, he's hoping workers will remain civil, no matter who wins the election next week.
About half of our working population on average is going to feel like they've lost or won. But that gives each employer a unique opportunity to kind of reestablish the boundaries of empathetic listening and dialogue and really engaging with each other in a way that's respectful, kind, and civil.
Political tensions also impact a business's bottom line because of things like reduced productivity and absenteeism. According to the Society for Human Resource Management, incivility loses businesses $2.17 billion every day. I'm Janae Bowens reporting.
Politics now. Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk is facing fallout for his super PAC's $1 million registration voter giveaway. The district attorney in Philadelphia is now suing him. Fox 17 News' Jeff Harris spoke with legal experts to find out if this lawsuit has any legs.
Opinions are truly split. One legal expert I spoke with says yes, what Musk and his super PAC are doing could be considered running an illegal lottery, while another says it can't be a lottery because he's giving away his own money. Last week, Tesla CEO Elon Musk was sent a letter from the Department of Justice warning him that his $1 million giveaway could violate federal law, something Richard Painter, an election law expert, believes is true.
This is an indirect way of paying someone to register to vote.
But Michael Domino, also an election law expert, tells us he doesn't think Musk is crossing the line.
It's clearly not vote buying because he's not paying anybody to vote or not to vote or to vote for a particular candidate.
As for this most recent lawsuit claiming Musk's giveaway is an illegal lottery in the state of Pennsylvania, Domino believes that also isn't true.
We're not selling lottery tickets. Nobody's buying a lottery ticket. Nobody's throwing money into this except for Musk.
Along with running an illegal lottery, the lawsuit also accuses Musk of violating consumer protection laws, something Madeline Somerville, an attorney at Georgia Trial Consulting, believes is the case.
There are specific provisions in the law that allow you to support folks getting out to vote. But if it endorses one side versus the other, that's where the state or the U.S. has to step in.
Which is why Somerville says the lawsuit has been filed to put an end to the giveaway. But opinions are split about whether or not anything illegal is being done.
That can't possibly be a lottery when someone's giving away his own money.
In my opinion, he is operating an illegal lottery in the state of Pennsylvania.
Now, according to CNN, a judge did schedule a hearing on the matter for Friday, which means the giveaway could last at least through the week. I'm Jeff Harris reporting from Washington.
In sports tonight, the Preds' winning streak got struck by lightning last night down in Tampa. Former Lightning captain Steven Stamkos making his return to that city. Picking up the action, second period, Preds down 2-1. Gustav Nyquist scores for the Preds to tie the game at 2-2. Here it comes. Now, this game would go into overtime, but the Lightning won it. Tampa Bay's Nick Paul capitalizes off a Predators turnover, ends up with the game-winning goal. The Predators lose that one 3-2, but they still get a point. Nashville's back in action on Halloween night at home downtown against the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers' three-time league MVP Connor McDavid got hurt last night, though, so no word on whether he will be available to play on Thursday. Looking ahead to Saturday, another big day of college football here on Fox 17. It begins with Ohio State and Penn State, a Big Ten matchup, both of them ranked in the top 5. That game will start at 11:30. Then in the afternoon, Kansas State plays Houston, a Big 12 matchup, a 2:30 start. Now, if the Yankees can put 3 wins together, it will force a Game 7 in the World Series. That would happen on Saturday night beginning at 7. Stay tuned. And, of course, on Sunday, we've got NFL action, a doubleheader here on Fox 17, beginning with the New England Patriots here in town to play the Titans. Kickoff of that game is at noon. Then in the afternoon game, the Detroit Lions facing off against the Green Bay Packers at 3 p.m. here on Fox 17.
Well, looking at a very mild 9 to 9 and a warm and breezy day as we head into tomorrow. Things will remain quiet here, and we'll wake up tomorrow morning again with a mainly clear sky over Middle Tennessee. Not the case, though, for the Central Plains, where we are looking at the potential for a severe weather outbreak, something we have not talked a lot about in the past couple of months, it seems like. But it does look like tomorrow the setup is there for some severe weather, including tornadoes out in parts of Oklahoma, Kansas, and into Missouri. This will be the same line that eventually impacts us, bringing us showers for Thursday. By the time it reaches us, we're going to be right on the edge for a stray strong thunderstorm, but tornadoes are not going to be a problem. It's more going to be a hail and wind risk for us. So here's 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, expecting these storms to fire up along the cold front here in Kansas and Missouri. Overnight into early Thursday morning, they will approach Tennessee, marching through West Tennessee, and that's where we could have a stray strong thunderstorm. As we get more into the afternoon and evening, the line will be marching more into Middle Tennessee, and that's where we could end up with our first good rain that we've had in a while. Half inch, maybe up to 1 inch in some spots. Eventually, as we head into Friday morning, we will dry out, and the weekend right now remains dry with the potential for perhaps a stray shower, especially heading into Sunday. We'll have more on our fall foliage and how close we are to peak color in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast. Scott.
Thank you, Katie. Also ahead, it is the final countdown, how both presidential candidates are pulling out all the stops to get your vote. Plus, out of jail now, how longtime Donald Trump supporter Steve Bannon is hoping to fire up the MAGA crowd. In political news, Vice President Kamala Harris goes after former President Trump by holding a rally in the same place that Trump, spoke before supporters stormed the Capitol building.
Look, we know who Donald Trump is. He is the person who stood at this very spot nearly 4 years ago and sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol to overturn the will of the people in a free and fair election. An election that he knew he lost.
Tonight, Mr. Trump defended his controversial political rally on Sunday in New York's Madison Square Garden, which included a comedian who described Puerto Rico as a floating island of garbage.
I don't think anybody has ever seen anything like what happened the other night at Madison Square Garden. The love in that room, it was breathtaking, and you could have filled it many, many times with the people that were unable to get in. But politicians that have been doing this for a long time, 30 and 40 years, said there's never been an event so beautiful. It was like a love fest.
Now, back from behind bars, how former Trump advisor Steve Bannon is planning to fire up the MAGA base.
And coming up, we'll talk more about our peak color and how close we are to it. It's in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
Former Trump aide Steve Bannon walked out of prison this morning after serving his full 4-month sentence. Brian Todd shows us how the timing of this release could help his former boss.
He says 4 months in prison didn't break him, it empowered him. Tonight, just days before Election Day, Steve Bannon is out from behind bars and ready to fire up Donald Trump's MAGA base.
The 2020 election was stolen. Okay, I will never back off that.
One of the most influential agitators for Trump and a key mobilizer for Republicans, the 70-year-old Bannon is poised to try to light a fire with potential Trump voters in the final stretch before November 5th.
He might be able to energize some of the younger white males that are infrequent voters who are pro-Trump but rarely show up. They seem to listen to him, and he has some special message for them, I'm sure.
One of the levers Bannon will use for that is his provocative podcast, War Room, which Bannon wasted no time returning to today.
So number one, on November 5th, we have to crush them at the ballot box.
Sources tell CNN that while in prison, Bannon kept in touch with loyalists, some of whom filled in for him on the podcast while he was incarcerated. But while he was in jail, the podcast suffered, the rotating cast of guest hosts not able to attract as many listeners as Bannon could. Now that he's out, analysts say, Bannon could revive the fortunes of War Room and use the podcast as he did so effectively before, encouraging volunteers to head to polling places, challenge procedures, and potentially challenge results.
We need to get people in the counting rooms. We need to get people around the tables to do ballot curing.
Today, Bannon already sowed doubt about the election results on the podcast.
If they can't take it away from Trump, if they can't nullify it right there, they want to at least delegitimize his victory.
Bannon was convicted of contempt of Congress for defying a subpoena from the committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. He'd been one of the most prominent voices in the Stop the Steal movement.
From the moment the polls closed, Bannon was busy trying to stir up chaos, trying to cast doubt on the legitimacy of Joe Biden's election, and trying to do everything he could to get Trump supporters agitated.
Including one ominous remark on his podcast the day before the January 6th attack.
All hell is going to break loose tomorrow. Just understand this. All hell is going to break loose tomorrow.
Still, there's no evidence that Bannon was involved in planning any aspect of the attack on the Capitol, or that he knew it would happen.
All right, back to the weather. Katie, the last couple of days, my high school student has worn sweatpants. What are we going to need tomorrow?
It's not going to be, I think, cool enough for sweatpants, but it's all relative,
Razor's
it just kind
edge,
of depends, yeah. We're going to be around 60 tomorrow morning, so mild start to the day. We were at 62 this morning, so if you wore sweatpants this morning, you'll probably wear sweatpants tomorrow morning.
We'll see. Sometimes he insists.
Yes. We are looking at another warm day with temperatures starting off in those low 60s. But as we head into the afternoon, we'll be in the 80s for the afternoon hours here. 61 at 8 o'clock, up to about 64 by 9, with mainly sunny to partly cloudy skies for everyone there getting up early and out the door. Tomorrow, too, a little bit on the breezy side. It was a little windy out there today. We'll see that again tomorrow through the mid to late morning hours. 15 up to 20 mile-per-hour winds. Gusts could be as high as 25 at times. All of this ahead of the big front that will be pushing in later in the afternoon and evening hours on Thursday. So this is all ahead of that front and will help push temperatures into the 80s for tomorrow. All right, let's take a look at our current fall foliage. If you've been out and about, I'm sure you've noticed there's a lot more color now. And typically here in Middle Tennessee, we tend to see our peak color around this time or even into next week. So right now we are reporting here orange or moderate to high color in portions even toward the plateau. And then we take a closer look at our forecast going into next week for the week of the 4th, typically when we find our peak high color to peak color expected for us here across all of Middle Tennessee. More peak color out towards the plateau and out towards the Smokies. We are looking at peak, if not past peak. And I've heard a few folks say that a lot of the colors already starting to mute. So they are past peak in a lot of areas. But if you are planning a weekend in the Smokies, it is looking nice. A lot of areas still open for business, especially in western North Carolina. You just want to check to make sure that where you're going is in fact open. But I know there are plenty of areas that are asking and begging for tourism to get the economy going out there again. Temperatures in the Smokies at least are looking good, mid 70s on Saturday, upper 70s towards Sunday, partly cloudy skies. Nice weekend ahead. We take a look locally. Temperatures not too much different. We'll be in the low 80s for the next few days. A brief cool down behind the front, and then we're right back up into the 80s as we start November. So our unseasonably warm pattern looks to continue through the first week of November.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Check out this time lapse of a cloud waterfall rolling over the mountains in eastern Tennessee. As the National Weather Service writes, it's caused by fog being transported up and over higher terrain. It's so cold inside the fog that it doesn't have enough time to warm up to dry out the cloud on the downslope. And it's snowing in the Utah mountains. By the end of the week, some places here, as well as Colorado, could see several feet.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
And you can see more weather stories like this every weekday morning on the National Weather Desk starting at 8 a.m. not here, but on our sister station, MyTV 30. Still to come, Halloween party crackdown. How a short-term rental giant is working to keep the peace this week here in Nashville. And letting you share the memories, the new offering from Netflix. Continuing coverage now on efforts to reduce complaints about short-term rentals. Industry leader Airbnb tonight strengthening its anti-party rules in cities across the country, including Nashville. Fox 17 News' Madeline Nolan shows us what this means for you.
The whole effort by Airbnb is reduce the risk of disruptive parties. Here in Nashville, just in the last year, Metro Police have responded to 2 deadly shootings that happened during parties at short-term rentals. As for someone booking an Airbnb this weekend, it will put those heightened restrictions on 1- and 2-night entire home rental reservations during this time frame. The restrictions will actually block the booking from being made if the conditions are flagged by their system. All of this as a way to increase safety in the area as well as ease the minds for both hosts and the neighbors.
Peace of mind for our host and local neighborhoods is increasingly important to us. And that's why not just during these weekends, but year round, disruptive parties and events are banned on Airbnb. And that is why incidents are rare. And we want to try to reduce the risk even more. And we do that with heightened awareness during major holidays.
Airbnb says since introducing the party ban policy back in 2020, they've seen an over 50% decrease in the rate of party reports nationwide. Just last Halloween weekend in Nashville, over 200 people were deterred from booking an Airbnb. In Music City, I'm Madeline Nolan, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Netflix letting customers share the memories, the new offering from the streaming giant. In consumer news, Netflix is letting you savor the moments from your favorite television shows and movies. The streaming service is launching a new feature that they're calling Moments. It will be located on the app, and it will allow users to rewatch and share their favorite scenes by bookmarking them. Now, you can then select the My Netflix tab to watch them again or share those clips on social media. The company says Moments will also be available for Android users in the next few weeks. Like, we don't quote movies enough. I saw that thing you put up the other day that was part of A League of Their Own.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That was funny.
Me and one of the directors and one of our floor operators did it. It was a lot of fun.
My wife and I talked about it at lunch. That's our time. We'll see you tomorrow.